Hi everyone, I am Brittany, the Cosmic Lunar Soul. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you are a subscriber. Today we are going to be talking all about tarot, and I have a fun person with me, Priscilla from A Life Full of Simplicity. So hi Priscilla.
Hi, it's nice to be here. I'm so excited to talk about tarot and like a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, it's always a good time to talk all things tarot. So
Yeah.
just really quickly explain your channel for people, where they can
Yeah,
find
sure.
you, which is still linked in the description, but
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Priscilla. I'm the owner of A Life Full of Simplicity here on YouTube and on Instagram. So my channel is pretty much revolves around tarot. So I do tarot unboxings, I do flip throughs, walkthroughs. I also do other things. So I do planning videos where I plan my content for the month and things like that. I also do some reflection videos each month where I talk about the decks that I worked with for the month, how I worked with them, some spreads that I did throughout the month. I also talk about in that video books if I'm reading any books,
Hmm.
as well as showcasing new things into my collection. So maybe new decks, new books, things like that. And I also talk about YouTube. So sometimes I'll talk about specific videos that really caught my eye throughout the month that I've watched, because I do watch a lot of different YouTubers here on the platform. And I sometimes showcase specific videos that really caught my eye. So I talk about those and how they like impacted my practice, if they did or not, or maybe some tarot tags that I decided that I'm going to be doing and things like that. So that's pretty much my content. Sometimes I'll do other fun things like tarot tags, some hauls and things like that, but majority is around tarot.
I've really been enjoying your tarot tags lately. They're inspirational because I can't do some of them because I don't have enough decks to do them. So I live
Yeah.
vicariously through your videos.
Well, I think anyone can do them even if you have little decks, as long as you have a few that fit the tag themselves.
Hmm.
I think it doesn't really matter if you have like, only two compared to like 20. As long as you can talk about them and how they relate to the tag, I think it'll be a great video just the same. But I'm glad that you're enjoying my videos that I make.
Well, thank you for explaining all of that. I really love your channel. I hope you guys listening check out her channel because it's awesome, and follow us on Instagram if you want to see some of the extra stuff and readings that she does.
Yeah.
So let's go talk about tarot. We have,
Yeah.
let's see, I think we have like 10-ish questions. I split some up into two, so we have like
Okay.
12 questions. But let's start with the first one, which is what is your favorite tarot right now?
So I would say that my favorite tarot deck right now is actually a new one that came into my collection. I have it here. I have like a whole pile of like decks and stuff
Yeah.
on the side. So it would be this one here. It's the Guardian of the Night Tarot by MJ Cullinane. This is the Hay House edition. So this was
Oh,
an indie publication, and it was picked up mass market by Hay House.
I
And
didn't realize that that was a mass market deck because I saw you share
yeah,
the photos. I didn't know it was an indie deck. Sorry.
Yeah, so most of her decks have been indie, so they're always indie to begin with. She'll do a few runs indie, and then eventually someone will pick them up mass market. So, for
Hmm.
example, the Crow Tarot was indie before it became mass market with U.S. Games. Yeah,
Oh.
and her Wise Dog Tarot, which is also U.S. Games,
Hmm.
was also indie before it became published with U.S. Games.
Oh wow, the more
So
you
yes, I'm not sure the differences. I know there's a video by the Truth and Story, who's Kelly. She did, I think, a comparison video
know. Oh,
of both decks.
okay.
So I think if you wanted to see like the comparison between
Hmm.
the indie and the mass market, you could definitely check that out. These are the backs. I love the backs. They're like
Oh, they're
gorgeous.
so pretty.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah. I love her art style. Her art style is amazing. It's very, kind of like collage art, but at the same time, it looks like a painting. So I'm not sure how she gets that effect, but it's really beautiful. It's a full animal deck.
Oh, that's
So
really nice.
it's all animals, and I love animal decks. So if you if you follow my channel, animal decks and plant decks are like my thing. So I was really happy when this went a mass market because I really
Mhm.
wanted it.
So how long have you been like coveting that deck?
Oh my god, I don't even know how long. I think when it came out indie, I was like, "Oh, that's so beautiful," because I do follow her on Instagram,
Mhm.
because I do have her Crow Tarot, so I do tag her when I use that deck.
That makes sense.
So I do follow her on Instagram, and most of her decks I actually really enjoy. Her art style is definitely very unique. Not everyone enjoys her art style, which is perfectly okay.
Right.
But I actually really love it because it's different compared to other things that I have in my collection.
Mhm.
So here's another one with the cow. Hello.
Oh.
Yeah, so cute. And I like most of her decks. I think there's an Oracle deck that I'm not really into. It's one of her latest ones that's indie, but I do like most of her decks. I really want her for Hoxa Tarot.
Oh, that's nice.
I hope that comes mass market. And then this peacock.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love
Yeah.
peacocks.
So
Ugh.
yeah, this one I think would be my favorite at the moment since it's like the newest to my collection.
I think
Uh,
for me,
Yeah.
my favorite deck right now is the Philly Tarot. I've
Oh
been
yes.
using it a lot. I didn't expect to like this so much. And I think the ones that are really underrated that I buy tend to be the ones that I'm like, wow, I'm really in love with this. But this is an indie deck and it's really affordable. So I didn't really have very high expectations. I literally bought it because I'm from Philly and I was like, oh, out of solidarity, I have to buy it.
Yeah.
But honestly, like it's so cool. It might be a little hard to see. I'll put it up close. It has some of the like common Philly paraphernalia on the back. And then it has this really nice gilding. Of course, you know, if you're used to gilding, it gets beat up. So it is what it is. But the cards are actually really nice too. They're not like too thin. You kind of expect like an indie deck that is really, I think it was like, I bought it on sale. So I think it was like maybe $30.
Oh, that's good.
Um, 30 something, not including shipping for an indie deck that's that price. You generally expect lower quality, right?
True.
But no, I mean, look how nice and thick that deck is. And of course, I just have to show off some of the cards. Philly is known for having the Rocky statue. Let's see, what else? And then, of course, the Fresh Prince. So it's
Yeah,
really
that's so good.
nostalgic, but the cards are very much clones of Rider Waite. So it's like the best of both worlds to me.
Yeah, that's really good. The pricing seems good for USD. I'm sure it's way more expensive if it's like
Oh,
international or whatever, but
oh, for
for
sure.
USD,
And I'm
that's
sure it's
pretty
mostly
affordable for an
shipping.
indie deck.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah.
So let's go on to this one. So we talked about our favorite deck right now. What's
Yeah.
your favorite deck in your entire collection?
Okay, so that would have to probably be the Tarot of Mystical Moments. This is by Katrine Wellstein. This is a US Game Systems publication. I
Okay.
absolutely love this deck so much. A lot of people hate the cardstock of this deck because it's really, really glossy.
Mm.
But it's not the type of gloss that sticks together. It's actually the type of gloss that's very slippy. So when you're
Oh,
shuffling, it like really glides really nice. And for
ooh.
someone like me who just does overhand and
Mm.
I don't riffle shuffle, I don't bridge shuffle, this is like perfect because it just glides so nice when I when I shuffle, which I absolutely love. It does have gilding. The gilding
Mm.
actually has been holding up pretty well, I have to say. It's not actually chipped too bad yet.
Oh,
And I have used this deck quite a bit.
how long have you had it?
I've had it since I think it's almost a year. It'll be a
Oh,
year, I think, soon.
well, then that's excellent. It did
Or
hold
did
up
I get
quite
it
well.
last year? I can't remember when I got this. I think I got this last year, in the beginning of the year. So it
Mm.
has been a year already, actually.
And it's holding up great.
Yeah, it looks great. I don't know if you can see,
Oh,
but it
wow.
looks
Yeah.
fantastic.
I think it's because I'm really rough on my cards that they get beat up very easily.
Possible, yeah. I think when people shuffle, if you're a harder shuffler, definitely they will chip more.
Yeah.
But I typically shuffle like this, so I don't
Mhm.
feel like I'm like that hard on my cards. But I love this deck mainly because of the imagery, like it's so weird and so like strange, but I absolutely love it. It's like so unique. And I love this Nine of Swords. It's probably one of my favorites in this deck. And in
Mm-hmm.
general, this Nine of Swords I absolutely love because she has all these eyes on her and it's just really interesting. This deck has my favorite tower card. I wonder if I can find it.
Oh, yeah, let's see. And while you do that, I will go through my favorite deck and see if I can find my favorite cards.
Also, this deck is pretty unique as it has 2 Emperor cards and 2 Kings for each suit. So there's a feminine king and a feminine masculine king, and then a feminine emperor and a masculine emperor. So what she did was originally she designed the deck with the feminine side of things because she wanted this deck to be more feminine. But because of the, I guess because of tarot, she included also the masculine versions so that people can actually choose if they want which kings and which emperor they want to keep in. I actually keep in both because I feel like the imagery gives something different to a reading when you have it. So I actually keep in both in my deck. So this is my favorite tower card. I absolutely love this tower card. I feel like
Oh,
it's very
wow.
empowering. The fact that she's trying to hold the tower together even though there's
Yeah,
so much chaos. And I absolutely love it. Like it's so beautiful. Her art style is very collage based.
I can see that.
Very collage. I do like collage, but there's some decks out there that I'm not into that are also collage. Like I think it really depends on the art style. This is supposed to be the female emperor, but I feel like for the time frame that is like it's the imagery is set in, I don't feel like this is very feminine in my opinion. And I did state that in my unboxing
Yeah,
of it or my flip through of it, but
I kind of
yeah,
agree with you.
different.
Yeah, the art is really trippy. It's not
Yeah,
my style. We all know that I'm very
yes.
picky.
But I love it. It's very dreamlike. It feels very dream world, different things happening. But
Oh, I love that one.
there's still that nod to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So you can still figure out that this is about teamwork with the
Mhm.
imagery, even though it's not fully there. This is the
Right.
Nine of Pentacles. I still feel that abundance, especially with the fruit on her head.
Mhm.
Typically fruit is very abundant in my
Yeah,
opinion. You have also the bird and things like that. This is the Two of Cups.
it's definitely a common motif for the Nine of Pentacles.
Yeah. Then we have the
I love
the Knight
that.
of Wands.
Yeah.
Really cool Knight of Wands. I love this Chariot card, though a snail is not that fast. It
No.
has wheels, so I guess because of the added wheels, you can definitely feel that movement. But I guess movement can be at your own pace, depending on.
Yeah.
That's what I get from this card anyway, from the thing.
This is a definitely interesting take on the Chariot.
Yeah. Then we have the Ten of Swords, which is very interesting. There's like everyone has
Ooh.
like these weird pins that are going to be put in her hair, which is
Mhm.
very funny. 7, very traditional for a 7, honestly, with
Yeah.
the 3. I love this Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is one of my favorite cards in any
Oh.
deck. This is like my favorite card in general because it has
Mhm.
to do with hard work and learning new things and just working hard in general, especially
Mhm.
mastering skills and things, which I see myself as all the time. So this one,
Yeah.
she's literally trying to paint on, like she's trying to finish the butterfly. Like the butterfly feels undone, and she's trying
Mhm.
to like add the dots and add like the lines that you can typically see on a butterfly, which I really like. Is super nice. But yeah, I really like this. I don't know. I just find it really interesting. And there's so much that you can get from everything. This judgment card though, she reminds me of Audrey Hepburn.
Oh yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Oh
When I
wow.
saw it the first time, I'm like, is this Audrey? Hi, Audrey.
I totally see that.
Oh, here's the masculine emperor.
Oh yeah. Okay. I guess in
Yeah.
comparison to each other, I can kind of see that, but
Yeah.
separately, I wouldn't have thought. The other
Yeah.
one is still fairly masculine.
I love his mustache though. It's like
Oh,
branches.
I love that. I actually do like that a lot.
So yeah, this
Like
is my
little
favorite.
weird eyes.
It's probably my favorite in my collection. It's one I use a lot for myself. So this is the one that I chose.
For me, I actually don't use it very much anymore, but it'll probably always be one of my favorite in my collection is the Ethereal Visions.
Oh,
And
yes.
it's one of those decks that, like, no matter how long of a break I take from it, whenever I pull it back out, it's just like heartwarming. This is the only deck that has ever been gifted to me, so it's very meaningful in that way.
Yeah.
But then also, like, you can see even on the box, let me catch it in the light, that high foiling on the cards is just so gorgeous. It has this like Art Nouveau style that I don't care for the Art Nouveau deck, but the way they do it is just so like airy looking. Like here's the King of Pentacles. And I know it's hard to see because of the contrast between the high foiling and the light colors. It just looks very,
it looks nice.
It very much so lives up to its name as like Ethereal Visions. And so this, I would say, is pretty much Rider Waite. It does incorporate its own style. It kind of has its own soul to it. And I think that it seems like very much more of a deck that you can get some really solid answers out of when I use it. Another thing I like in a lot of decks in general are really ornate majors. So you saw the one card, but like, look at this death card. It's just so cool, so beautiful.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
a lot of times the death card is like the scary looking card. They draw it to look really like kind of terrifying, but this one isn't. It does have its little like macabre sort of scenery to it, but it's just, it also looks like a statue too. So it's not as traditional, I would say. But then also, like, look at the moon card. It's so beautiful.
Oh,
this is
yes.
one of my favorite cards in the deck. The moon card is not even one of my favorite regular cards, but just the contrast of that blue to the gold is so gorgeous. And it's just it too, like, there's no moon in this card, and usually I don't like that, but I love this card. And then I'll show you one more, and then I'll show you the two cards that really make me love this deck. Here's the devil. Pure, just like gold. He has that like traditional devil sort of motif. I would just really enjoy that. And it's like, so one of the things I really like about this is the foiling is so big that it's almost like you can see your reflection in the card. So
pretty much,
that's such a cool, almost like you can see yourself in this. So like you're trying to identify the parts of yourself that identify with the devil, kind of. And then this deck has 2 extra cards. I really like when decks have 2 extra cards. It makes it really exciting to there we go. Makes it exciting to incorporate to something that's actually, you know, tarot's pretty standard of a system. So it just makes it exciting.
Yeah, I also like when decks have extra cards in them, mainly because I find that it's unique, and the creator decided to put their uniqueness into the deck by creating an extra card or 2 that's outside of the standard, which I really like. So I definitely like that. That deck has been on my wish list for like absolute years.
Has it?
Yeah, and I want to get it. It's just I really want the Oracle too, because I don't think I would have anything that would pair well with that. But the Oracle I need to buy from Amazon.com.
Yeah,
I can't get it in Canada.
That's a good point. So that is a solid reason to hold you back.
Yeah,
I will say the one downfall, and I talked about this in my flip through, is the guidebook. It is so horrible. It's the worst guidebook I've ever gotten.
Yeah, it's US games. I'm not really surprised.
Well, even my like traditional US games ones are better, from like my Moonology and my Spellcasting Oracle. But this one, it was just like, let's just use a printer real quick, staple together a guidebook and send it. But The irony in it is it's laid out really well. It's just
Okay.
quality-wise pretty crappy.
I have quite a number of decks from US games, and I do have some that come with the little white book. Some of them are
Mhm.
actually pretty decent with the information that they provide, but not all
Yeah.
of them are, which, it happens.
And I would say the information it provides is really good because I don't like really flowery guidebooks.
Okay, that's good.
So it has like the description of the suit, it has the upright, the reverse, and it's very cut and dry, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
It's just quality wise, leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to shout out Hi Sai. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi,
If you have
Sai.
a favorite deck in your collection or right now, go ahead, put it in the comments and let us know.
Yeah, share with us. I want to know what your favorite deck is.
All right. Next up, favorite oracle right now.
Okay. Let me move a few things here.
Gotta read
Piles and piles of stuff. Okay, so I think my favorite oracle right now would have to be the Seed and Sickle Oracle deck. This is by Fez Inkwright, and this is a Liminal 11 publication. So this deck was actually sent to me by Liminal 11. They sent it to me for a review. And I absolutely love this deck. So their boxes are pretty unique, where it opens at the bottom, has a flip, and then another box comes out.
Oh.
And yeah, all their decks are like this, except for their very first one that they put out in this style of box, which is the Modern Witch Tarot. That one, unfortunately, doesn't have the flap, and then they changed all their decks after when they received feedback saying everyone hated the box. So,
well, at least they listen to feedback. That's amazing.
Yes, I do love that about them. So this deck is actually really interesting because it comes with 2 guidebooks, which is really, really unique. So you have one guidebook that is for, I believe, like mental well-being, focusing on like goals and things like that. Let me see here. So there's Dawn and Dusk. These are the 2 guidebooks.
Okay.
So the Dawn one is about when you're starting new projects, you're building new relationships and things like that. It's really about focusing and revitalizing yourself in terms of like what you want to work towards. So like your goals and things like that. And the Dusk guidebook is about working on yourself. So this is about taking care of yourself, about inner growth, your mental health and things like that. And I like this because you can actually choose to work with one guidebook, the other guidebook, or both of them together, depending on what your practice is.
Yeah.
So when I first got it, I actually started working with it in terms of selecting one card, looking at what it said in the morning in the Dawn guidebook, and then looking at what it said in the evening with the Dusk guidebook. And I really liked that for a little bit. It was really fun. And then after that, I've been working with it recently for my daily polls with another tarot deck that I'm using with it. And I've just been using, they have actually, they don't have keywords in the actual information, but they do have keywords in the beginning. It's like a little guide or whatever. So I typically look at this and I'll look at the information that it says here, and then I will choose a keyword that feels like fits the most of how I'm feeling in the moment. So yeah, depending on which guidebook depends on the keyword. So I look at the keywords first and then decide which keyword I'm going to go with in that moment for how I'm feeling. And I absolutely love this particular deck. It's very interesting. It says what the flower is or the plant, herb, or whatever it is. And they are separated by season in the book. So you have different ones for spring, summer, fall, and winter, which is really cool. And they're really nice. They have all the plants, and then it has like something associated with the plant. So this one has a sword in the middle.
Oh, okay.
This one doesn't have anything, I don't think.
I really like how the artwork just is the entire card, and there's like a pseudo border. I really enjoy that.
I like that too. And then this one has a rope with it.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting. This is another rope or like a golden thread or something golden with a mandrake. Yeah, I love it so much. I love the artwork. She does have 2 books with Liminal 11 on some kind of curse herbs that you can use for curses, and some kind of poison, like poison herbs and things like that. So I would highly suggest everyone check out Fez Inkrite if you like this kind of art style, or if you
Mhm.
like want to know more about herbs and things like that. She has 2 great books on the subject.
I think one of the cool things about that deck too is like, with a lot of decks, it's more or less the same background, same
Yeah,
whatever, and maybe switches it up a little, but you get a whole different piece of artwork with each card.
yeah. And this one has a
That was-
rosary in it, in the artwork.
That's gorgeous.
Rosary.
Mm.
This one has, I think, a chicken. I think that's a chicken.
And it looks like little garden shears or something underneath.
Yeah. Yeah, some kind of like shears or something at the bottom. Oh, a card that you're not going to like, mushrooms.
Yes, I hate mushrooms.
This one's associated with the moon phases, so the moon phases are in here.
Oh yeah, I do see that.
Yeah. And then we have foxglove.
Mm-hmm.
And this oracle deck is actually extensive. So there's how many cards is there in total? I think 50 something.
Wow, 50?
Does it say? I think it says somewhere. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like either high 40s or
Like 50-ish.
Let me just look in the guidebook, see what the last card is. It's a good size deck, is what I mean by the thing, because I know a lot of people don't like certain
Like
54. There's 54 cards in this deck. Yeah, some people don't like when decks are small, so when they have like 30 cards, 36 cards, don't blame them. I don't like that either, to be honest with you. I like cards that they have a lot of cards. Like I want my money's worth when it comes to Oracle decks. So I prefer decks that are 40 up, so 40 plus cards. But yes, I do love this very much. The artwork is beautiful. The cardstock is pretty decent also. I don't know how well it would riffle or bridge shuffle since I don't do that, but it shuffles really nicely overhand. And it glides. It's matte, I guess, or matte coated or something. It feels like there's a coating on it, but it's matte. I do love that, and it makes it glide easier. They don't chunk or anything like that together.
right.
Which is
It's not
really
like
nice.
that sticky matte.
Oh yeah, I hate that. I hate sticky matte. So this is really, really nice deck, and this would be my favorite in the current moment.
For me, my favorite is actually the Cosmic Visions mini that I just got.
Yeah.
I also got the mini Prisma Visions, which I have the regular of, so obviously that's kind of a favorite as well. But I really, this is my first time having tins, and I really like them. But then it's so cool because it has this little like fold up, like whatchamacallit, but on the guidebook, I guess.
Yeah.
But on the back, it's like a little let me see if I can get it open. It's like a little tarot mat. Like that's so cute.
That actually is really cute. Have you used it though? Have you used the mat?
I have not. I generally don't use mats, but I feel like since this is so tiny, when I travel, like in the future, I probably will. Just for the aesthetics. But then, like the inside has this like velveteen finish in it.
Oh, that's nice.
I was very shocked how really well made this tin was. But then we have the cards that has that like holographic, you can tell I've been using this already, but holographic foiling. And just like you were talking about, it's more or less a tarot deck. It has 78 cards. And it's divided up similarly to how tarot is. So there's like the equivalent of majors, and then it goes into four different suits.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, let me see, what are the suit names again? So we have the embers, lotuses, birds, and trees. So it's very reminiscent of tarot, and it's almost like this could be its own tarot system almost. And it just pairs so well with the visions, and the art style is just gorgeous. It still has that same swirly, I don't know, my artist Van Gogh, maybe it is same swirly like Van Gogh style of art. and the majors are done in the same way that the Prisma is. They're framed with this gorgeous frame, and then that's how you can differentiate between the two. But what's really cool, let me see if I can find two cards to at least show you the similarities. Just like in the Prisma Visions, the cards kind of have this flow of art, so they match up.
Oh yeah, I do. I love that about these decks, that they flow in the minor, so you can put them all together and they all flow
Yes.
into like a scene. I do love that very much. This one's my favorite in terms of the color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of this color scheme, I prefer this one over the Prisma Visions. I prefer
Really?
this one.
Why is
Yeah.
that? Just the
Just the color palette that the creator used. I prefer the color palette of this one because it has like more green and whatnot. I don't know. I love this one more. I feel like this is more earthy.
it kind of is. It is.
Yeah.
I'm not much into greens, but I do like that earthiness to it. But I
Yeah.
like how you can kind of see it in the cards and in the tin here, how the motifs transfer over with that eye, and you kind of have the similar just color schemes transitioning between the two. So they pair up just so well together.
Yeah, together they would pair well because they have the same art style, right? So I
Exactly.
think as a tarot and an oracle, they would work well together. If you did if you were the kind of person that incorporated, do you incorporate oracle typically in your tarot readings, or?
I do actually. I don't enjoy doing like oracle only readings very
Oh,
often.
okay, yeah.
So I actually prefer to incorporate them into tarot as like the
Okay.
overarching theme of the reading.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I do that too. I usually keep it as a focus. Like for my daily readings, it's my focus. But I do love using oracle by itself as well.
I've been practicing it. It's not something I'm like good at. There's certain decks that I can do that with, and I'll talk about it in question 4.
Yeah.
But for a lot of them, they're just too open-ended. It doesn't give my mind anything to like hone in on.
Yeah.
So that is actually a great transition for our 4th question, which
Yeah.
is your favorite oracle in your entire collection?
Yeah. So that was hard because I do have quite a number of oracle decks that I absolutely love that are in my collection. But I went ahead and I chose the Sacred Forest Oracle
That's a
by
nice one.
Denise Lynn. I have her other deck as well, which is the Sacred Destiny Oracle, and I do love that as well. If you like more like photography mixed with Photoshop kind of feel. And I love this deck so much. It's really fantasy based. This is published by Hay House, so it's in their new Hay House cardstock. So it is their thinner cardstock that I know a lot of people don't like, but I absolutely love because it's easy to shuffle for once.
Yeah.
These are the backs.
Oh wow, that's the back?
Yeah, that's the back.
Whoa.
There is a card with this on it, but this is the back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I do love this because it's more fantasy based. So there's like fairies in it. There's a lot of fairies actually in here. Here's another fairy. It's very earth based, so there is like guardian of the land, for example. Very foresty, which is the point since it's called Sacred Forest.
Makes sense.
But I do love this very, very much. The readings that I've gotten from it have been absolutely amazing, and I reuse this also to read for others as well. So I do love this very much.
Is there a tarot you like to pair this with frequently?
Yes, I used it with the Orion's Animal Tarot, and it just pairs absolutely beautiful. Like the combination of colors really matches well, so you would have never even thought that they were separate decks. You would be looking at maybe 2 decks, but yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it. Let me find the card. Oh, here, this one is beautiful. It's a storm card. I love it.
Oh, I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I think I'll have to add that to my wish list, actually.
If you do, wait for a Hay House sale because this
Yes.
deck actually goes as low as $10 during their sale. So it's like the best time to buy. If you're in the US, Hay House's sales are the best. So if you ever want to know if they're having a sale, just subscribe to their newsletter and they'll actually tell you when they're having a sale, 50% off. And then you can go and you can check out their decks because
They
they
have
end up
sales
being
quite
so
frequently
cheap.
too, so don't feel
Yes,
crazy
yes.
if you
Hay
missed
House
it.
does frequent sales. So does
Yeah.
Llewellyn. So it's great. There's also a card for every season. So you could do a seasonal reading with this deck as well if you're into doing season readings. You can do that. Where's the card? Here we go. This is the card that's on the back. So it's the Pegasus
The
card.
Pegasus. So
Yeah.
fun fact, my high school mascot was the Pegasus.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. I don't think I had a high school mascot, actually.
I don't
If
know
we
why
did, I don't know what it was. So yeah, I just love it. It's so fantasy based and it's just really beautiful. Here we have a Mystic Meadow.
It's funny that your favorite oracle in your collection is that deck because mine is kind of similar. It's another USA deck, but and sorry if you weren't done. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. I want to see what this deck is.
It's a spellcasting oracle deck. I love this deck. And it's funny because so speaking of Hay House sales, I bought it just so I'd get the free shipping. I did not really want it, so you're probably noticing a theme of me buying decks and I'm like, okay, whatever, and then I fall in love. But they're so cool. They're super witchy. I really enjoy using this for community reads. I enjoy using this for myself. It's one of my go-to decks for just like getting an overall energy before I pull tarot cards. And it kind of has like, it kind of goes through the full spectrum, I feel. Actually, let me, instead of holding up the entire deck, it goes through the full spectrum, but I love the diversity in this deck as well.
Me too.
So some cards have people on them. Some cards are just like very earthy. Some cards have animals. And then some are just like, you can tell they're people, but it's like really sort of mystical looking. Like you can make out that that's a human body, but the person is not necessarily the focus. There's scenery. I just love both like the topics that it covers and the images because they're all different, kind of similar to how I was mentioning with the other deck you were sharing, how each card is kind of its own artwork. Sorry if that was loud. I totally scraped my microphone.
Oh, that's fine.
But I think that there's cards in here. Let me see if I can find them. There's cards in here that relate to me like a lot of tarot in a way. Like one of them is like this family card. It very much reminds me of like the 10 of Cups kind of vibe. And then there's like this travel card. It looks very much like the 6 of Swords, kind of has that feel, but maybe a little different energy around it. See if I can find another one that, I really like this one because cats. So this card actually is what made me fall in love with the deck. It's a black cat, which traditionally is not considered good luck, but it is the good luck card. So I love that. It's like
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's taking back the bad stigma of black cats.
Oh, yeah, and that's great because I think a lot of people have they see a black cat and they're like, run, and I'm like, it's just a cat. It's not gonna do
I know,
anything to you.
and as someone who has 2 black cats, I'm like, okay, they can sometimes be bad luck. And then this is the card I was looking for, the Strength card. It's very reminiscent of the Tarot Strength card in a kind of way. So I really enjoy how well this pairs with especially traditional like Rider-Waite style or clone decks. It just pairs so well, so easily. And this is the only deck that I use to do like this is the only deck that I'll do Oracle only readings with.
Mhm.
But
And
I think the one you shared is going to be a new one.
and also Coyote Tarot, it's a spellcasting oracle.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Thank you. I'm glad you saw that. This is
Yeah.
the Spellcasting Oracle deck.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have a
so
flip through on your channel of that one?
I do. I do have a flip through. So if you like that, I do have a flip through of
Yeah.
that deck, and I go through the guidebook and all of that.
Yeah. It's good.
But
Me
another
too.
thing I
I
like
have one.
about that, similar to what you said, I love the card stock, and I
Yeah.
even though Oracle decks tend to be a little big and my hands are small, it's still
Mhm.
so easy to shuffle.
Yeah,
It's like
and Hay House always has like the standard oracle size, so the oracle
yes,
cards are not larger than normal, like some other publishers have. Theirs is like the standard. So
yeah.
if you ever get a deck and it's not the standard, just compare it to Hay House because Hay House is standard oracle size.
So let's transition into what decks we're currently using just overall.
Oh yeah, so I am actually using 3. So with my practice, I actually switch out my decks pretty much every single month. So my decks that I'm using is the Seed and Sickle. So that one I mentioned and showed already
Mhm.
a bit. So I'm actually pairing it for my daily practice with the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. And I believe you have this deck also, right? You got
Yes,
it in a box,
it might be in my background actually. No, I moved it.
in a box. Yes, I love this deck, and I was having such a hard time finding an Oracle deck to pair with it, and I love the pairing of this particular deck. These are the backs. It's just a bunch
Mhm.
of white dots, which I love. And this one's really heavily collage.
Yes,
So
it is.
if you like this style of deck, a lot of the time, what's those two together that always do decks together? Monty Farber and Amy Zerner. I think they're married, actually. I think they're a couple,
Oh,
but they always do decks together, and they are heavily collaged. Now, their style of collage decks, I don't like. Like
okay.
theirs is like really heavy collage,
Yeah.
and I'm not really into that too much. They have actually a new deck coming out soon, I think. But this one, I don't know. I was just drawn to it, and I just love it so much. It's supposed to be a goddess deck, but the
Mhm.
goddess is like in the general sense. It's not a specific goddess. So in the guidebook, it doesn't tell you which goddess it is and things like
Mhm.
that.
It's more of like the energy of the card.
Exactly.
Yeah. I kind of
Um,
like that actually, but you know how I
and I
am.
just love it. It is RWS, so
Mhm.
like I don't think if you already know RWS, like the meanings and things like that, I don't think anyone will have an issue
No, not at
reading
all.
this. I feel like it's pretty intuitive, in my opinion, anyway. But I do love the flowers. She is working on an oracle deck, in case no one
Oh,
knew this. It will be indie first. I don't know if it'll be picked up mass market. I am hoping it is because it's an animal oracle deck, and we know how much I love
yeah.
animal oracle decks.
You
But
never
it'll be
have
the
too
same
many.
style. It'll be the same style, so it'll be a perfect pairing. Just to let you know. This also was indie, and it was also picked up mass market by
Mhm.
Ulysses Press, I believe. Yeah, Ulysses Press. I
Oh, okay.
don't know much about this publisher, to be honest with you.
No,
I
me
don't think
neither.
they have that many decks. They have another one. It's a plant deck from Minerva Siegel. I don't know who the artist is for that one. That one's pretty minimalistic. It's a pip deck, but
Oh, yeah,
yes.
not a fan of pip decks.
I don't mind them, but yeah. And I'm not really surprised. As a plant deck, you can't really do much with
Yeah.
with the minors. Like, how can you make a plant deck scenic? In my opinion, I don't know. But yes, I do love this deck very much. I've been using this. The majors are renamed. Some of them,
Yeah.
not all of them, but some of them are renamed. It does tell you in the guidebook exactly
Mhm.
what it is, though. So it'll say in brackets, previously named this. So at least you won't have a hard time with that. And it says traditionally the Fool. So the Fool is named Potential, and it says traditionally the Fool. So it does tell you what it was traditionally.
Yeah.
And they do have court cards also renamed as well. I love this star card.
And we all know that I don't like that.
Yeah, you don't like that. I actually don't mind. I feel like it puts like a unique spin on the queen is the same. I'm trying to see which ones it is that's here. This one, Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what this was. If this is king or what. Spirit, and then queen stays the same. I think, yeah, knight is warrior, which is fine.
Okay. That makes sense.
I think that's pretty tame. Yeah. Nymph. Okay, so nymph is page, spirit is king.
Okay.
So spirit is king. I think they were trying to make them gender neutral, which is perfectly okay in my book.
Makes sense.
Except they kept the queen as the queen. So the queen is unchanged, spirit is king, and then nymph is page. Warrior is the only one that makes sense in terms of like the fact that it does. It's a knight. I think the nymph also makes sense though because of the fact that it's nymphs are typically playful, and I feel like the pages are typically playful in a sense because they're young and nymphs are usually young. So yeah. And then the other deck I've been using in my daily practice as my current deck that I've been using is the Next World Tarot. This is by Christy C. Road. This is published by Silver Sprocket, which are a very small independent publishing company. This is the pocket edition. There is a regular edition. The regular edition is gigantic though. So yeah, if you have small hands, the pocket edition is the way to go. But I do
a good size.
Yeah, this is a good size. It fits in my hand perfectly. I love this deck. I've been using it for my planetary polls. So I've been doing planetary work. So the days of the week are all associated with a specific planet. And I have been using this deck to pull for each day of the week and putting it into my planner. This idea I actually got from Kyra Getchell, who's another YouTuber. She does witchy planning and witchy bullet journals and things like that. And she talked about this system in her journal, and I loved it. So I wanted to try it out. And I love this deck in particular because it's very political. It's a very political deck, so it really encompasses what's going on in our world right now, which I absolutely really love. A lot of people don't really like that, but I feel like it really gets to the depth of things in our society and things that are going on right now in our society. So,
do you think it'll age well?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Mainly because you can really see a lot of the things. Like, let me show you the, let me see if I can find it. I think it's Death, or maybe it's Tower card. I don't remember what card it is. This one also has a few cards that are renamed. It gives you the association with the planets and
I like that.
The planets and the elements and things like that. So you'll see that there, and the zodiac sign. So this is the Devil card. Now in the back you have someone shaking hands with someone who is part of the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, however you say that. And then you have people that are money hungry, you have bombs, you have a bunch of different things. And I feel like what's going on right now is definitely the epitome of this card. Yeah. So I feel like this deck is very, very based on what's going on in our society right now. And the way she has written the guidebook is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend, if you're not the type of person to read a guidebook, that you read this guidebook, because she goes into such great depth. Even this small little guidebook, like it's the pocket edition and it's a small guidebook, but it's thick. Like, look how thick that is. And there's a lot of great information, how she brings it into like the revolution and things that are going on in society and things like that. So I definitely love that. This is the Emperor card. No, this is the Hermit. This is the Hierophant card. So she renamed it to the Messenger. And in here we have like people protesting. We have someone who looks like they're part of politics and things like that. We have signs that say, queer, like queers matter and things like that. So you have a lot of people that are protesting, and that's what's happening currently in our
Yeah.
society, right? With all the protests on abortion and all the
Mhm.
protests with, trans people having their rights revoked and
Yep.
all those kind of things that are happening right now. So I feel like a lot of this is very based on our society with what's happening now. And I can say also, like in Canada, sure, we don't have everything like that that's going on in the US, but we do have a lot of things going on as well, especially in
Mhm.
Quebec with language. And then we have, like, in Canada, we have a lot of things going on with the Indigenous cultures and Indigenous people that we have here. So, there's a lot of things like based on discrimination that are happening in Canada as well. So I feel like this really fits in with society. That's why I love using it. It's like I look at it, wow, this
Mhm. Yeah.
is so.
It can be really hard hitting, though, I imagine.
Yes, I would definitely say so. So if you want a hard hitting deck, and one that's based on, like, very modern and based on society, that you can see really society, this is the deck, and it's very diverse, which I really love. So it's that I'm using currently.
So for me, I'm actually using the Everyday Witch Tarot and Oracle pretty regularly, and I'm also
Yes, I
using
love those.
the Cosmic Vision and Prisma Vision pretty regularly. Let me pull it out. Sorry. Okay. So here is so actually let me show the Oracle first, because this is the Oracle deck. It's not a very thick deck here, it's how many cards is this? Not sure. Oh, 40. Actually 40. That's a good amount of cards.
Oh, it's 40?
Yeah. They're so big though. Like, look how big these cards are. Look, my tiny little hands in this big ass deck. And as comparison, so we know Oracle cards are already more or less chunkier and bigger than tarot. Here is the Spellcasting Oracle card with this. So it's just like a chunky monster of a card. But the deck is not that thick, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. Because the Spellcasting Oracle cards are 48. They're a little flimsy because of the size, but they're actually really glossy. Like, look at that high sheen, but they're not sticky glossy, so that's fine. They're very slidey. And of course, because it has an accompanying tarot deck, it pairs very well. It's just, I bought it for cats.
Like, that's why I bought it too.
I tend to buy tarot cards for like the most weird reasons, but I bought it for cats. Every card has a cat on it, and I was just like, I can't not have a witch deck that has cats in every single card. I have to say, I wasn't necessarily at first a fan of this high gloss. It definitely makes live streaming hard because all you see on camera is like, is this? But I think that not having like the foiling on the side, having just sort of the no frills kind of cardstock, and having the high gloss makes these really like sturdy cards. They don't tend to look as beat up as some of my foiled decks. And again, having the two together is actually I just really like it. I would say the really shining glory with the Everyday Witch Tarot is the guidebook. It comes with more or less a full, it's like a novel. It's like a mini textbook for the deck. It even has pages where you can jot notes down in it. And it's a full-size book. I don't have it with me right now. Actually, I lied. So it comes in this big ass box. Like, here are the cards, and then here's the box. But then the book in it is like this really awesome, just it smells good too. But
Yeah.
the book is illustrated, so you have the picture of the card. It has like a cool little description here and then goes into a lot of detail about it.
Hmm.
So I just think that is really, really well thought out. And then here is an example of like a notes page if you wanted to add in some notes. And I've just honestly, I've never had a guidebook like this. So it's a really affordable deck. So you're getting really sturdy cards, a great book, and it pairs so beautifully with its accompanying oracle cards that I just think it's a pretty easygoing deck, really beginner friendly as well.
Hmm.
And every time I use it, it's a deck that makes me happy.
Yeah, I have both of those decks as well, and I love them. I love Llewellyn so much. They're one of my favorites, and they always do great decks, especially when they're in their like signature box set kits. Those are the best because the guidebook is always large and full of information, which I absolutely love.
I Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I saw this around the Oracle and Tarot. I saw this around a lot and then suddenly I didn't see it anymore. And it's just kind of like it fell off the radar, but it's really been, I mean, when I got it, I loved it. When
Yeah.
I pick it back up, I love it. And it's always been a fan favorite for my live streams as well.
Yeah. And I think it's really popular. That one always goes head to head with the Green Witch. I
Yes.
always see videos of people comparing it to the Green Witch Tarot, which I have both. I have both of them. So yeah.
See, I decided between the two, and this
Yeah.
one has cats, so really it was not much of a decision to make. But since we were talking about Llewellyn, I don't know why I can never say that publisher. Let's talk about our favorite publishers, and then we will wrap it up and do another live and finish all our questions.
Yeah.
That way, if you guys have other questions you want us to talk about or like prompts or anything like that, you can put it in the comments and let us know. But so, what is your favorite publisher?
So that's really hard because I like a lot of different publishers. So I wouldn't say that I have a particular favorite one. I love Llewellyn for specific reasons that they always come out with a specific kit. Their box sets are always really nicely done, where they have like a really large guidebook and things like that. I have a few of them.
Mhm.
And there are quite a number of other decks that I love by them that I really want and that are on my wish list. But in Canada, they are quite expensive. They go for over $40. So typically, yeah. So typically, I limit buying those. So I have a few.
Yeah.
I have like the Green Witch, the Everyday Witch. I have the Mermaid one. I have the Edgar Allan Poe. I think I have something else,
Oh.
but I can't remember.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have a few by them, and they're really well done all the time. Then
Mhm.
there's Hay House. I think the majority of my collection is probably from Hay House. Most of my Oracle decks anyway, because they are probably top notch when it comes to Oracle decks.
They are.
They have so many different Oracle decks that they put out, and they're constantly putting out new things or picking up like indie and like making a mass market and things like that. So I definitely love a lot of decks from them. I love their current cardstock. I know a lot of people don't, but I do love it. And they have great also they have great selection when it comes to Oracle decks, so I do love them. Then there's Liminal 11. They're a smaller publisher house. They're not as big as Hay House and Llewellyn. I think those two would be the biggest, and then I think US Games would be next. Rockpool. Liminal 11 would be more towards the bottom because they don't have as many decks in their catalog of decks. I have all their decks currently, and I do love their decks very much. Some being like Cosmic Slumber Tarot, for example. Their most well-known deck would be the Modern Witch Tarot. That would be their most well-known. It's the most popular. It's gender neutral, female and a non-binary type of witch in that, but it's based on the RWS system, so it's very easy. So I do love their decks very much. They're probably one of my favorites if I had to say, but those would be my three. I do have some decks from US Games, the ones that I can get in Canada anyway.
Yes.
And I do love the ones that they put out and the ones that I have in my collection. They did do a good job with that, so I do love them.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have some from smaller publishers like Los Scarabeo, Blue Angel, for example. These
Mm-hmm.
two are actually distributed by Llewellyn, so you can actually buy their decks on Llewellyn's website in
Oh,
North
okay.
America because they are not North American based. So Los Scarabeo is Italian, and
Yeah.
then Blue Angel is Australian. So yes.
I don't think I've
Um,
even heard of Blue Angel.
yeah, Blue Angel does all the Oracle decks. They've actually recently changed their cardstock from this high gloss, really ugly high gloss, to like very smooth matte, which I absolutely love.
Oh.
So buttery and beautiful. Um, Other than that, there are some other publishers like Red
Mm.
Whale, Schiffer. I think those are the same, but I'm not sure, or at least they're owned by each other, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure. I have a few of their decks. Whatever.
Yeah.
They're not memorable enough for me. Then I have Rockpool decks. I do love their decks. Not
Mm-hmm.
all of them. Some of their older decks I'm not really a fan of. More of their newer stuff because they
Okay.
changed their cardstock recently on their newer decks. It's way
Mm-hmm.
nicer than their older stuff. So I would say my top three though at the moment that I get the most of would probably be Hay House would be probably the top because I get most of my decks are from Hay House, and then
Yeah.
Liminal 11 and probably Llewellyn. Yeah.
I think so. Out of the major brands, I have Llewellyn, I have US Games, and I have Hay House. I have more Hay House than I have any of the others, but
Yeah.
I realize I tend to buy a lot of indie decks or a lot of like weird mass market. Let me see, where is Game of Thrones from? This one's Chronicle Books.
Oh, I have some decks by them as well. They're small.
Yeah, they're small, but I mean, they're small, sort of no frills, but it seems like their decks are really affordable. So
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm happy with that, but I don't have enough, I don't know enough of the other decks to have an opinion, but I think my favorite would have to be Hay House just because I'm most familiar with those cards. I
Yeah.
think they're like the best all around for no matter what kind of shuffler you are. So whether you just do overhand, if you're a riffle, or if you're a riffle bridger like I am,
Yeah.
if you're a fanner, it just works well no matter what you want to do. So it's easy to switch it
Yeah.
up. I think I don't know about the consistency of US games, but I will say like my Ethereal Vision shuffles really well. They have a nice flicky, sturdy cardstock. So it's a little on the thicker side, but it
Mhm.
creates this like, oh, this beautiful bridge. It's perfect.
I haven't noted. I've gotten a few new decks that have come out by US Games, and I haven't noticed a difference from their older decks because I have a few of their older decks as well. So I don't really think they've changed cardstock much, except for like the Tarot of Mystical Moments. She actually put out an Oracle first with US Games, and it was a
Oh,
different cardstock, and then they went glossy, and people were mad about that
yeah.
because it wasn't consistent. But
Yeah.
other than that, like I don't think they've had like a big change in their cardstock or anything. I think they've stayed pretty consistent, in
Yeah,
my
I
opinion.
think if Llewellyn went to the same cardstock as Hay House, I would not be upset about it, honestly.
Yeah. I
um,
love Llewellyn's cardstock though.
do you?
Everyone hates it, but I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
I did dislike it when I did my flip through of my Everyday Witch. You can kind of like hear me talk about that. It was a
Yeah.
little disappointing a bit, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I've kind of gotten used to it, and I like the deck and the pairings with the Oracle so well that I
Yeah.
just kind of got over it.
Mhm.
But if they were to switch to the Hay House, like that slick matte, I would not be upset about it.
Yeah. I
Uh,
don't think they would ever
mhm.
do matte cardstock only because their signature is glossy and all their
Yeah.
decks are glossy, but I understand what you mean, and I know a lot of people are the
Yeah.
same way with that kind of cardstock. I love it the way it is.
Yeah.
I've always liked it. I understand filming is hard with it because we
It
both
is.
film. So obviously with
Exactly.
lights and stuff, you'll be able to see them. Typically, I just say, well, it's glossy. You're going to see my light and try to adjust. If
Yeah,
you
that's
don't see it as much,
usually
and
like
that's in the
moving the
call. Like,
light
what can
around.
you do, right? But I'm sure most people who buy their decks, they don't only do YouTube, right? They
Right.
they actually use them without lights being shown on them. So
Exactly.
I think that's really the most important part is using the deck and making sure that it's usable, which I find it usable because it's a good size.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the biggest thing for me. If your cards are too large, like
Yeah.
why? Like I
I,
need to be able to use the deck. If your cards are huge, how am I supposed to use it? You know what I mean? So
that
as long
is
as your
the,
deck is usable, I think it's good.
I will say that is the one thing about USA games. I don't know if they're all like this, but here is the size difference between my Everyday Witch and my USA games. Everyday Witch size-wise is perfect. But
Yeah.
cardstock wise, USA Games is perfect. So it's like I'm in between the holy grail of
Yeah.
cards. But it's just a tad too long. It's tall. It's very weird. It's weird to.
I don't know if Llewellyn is the standard tarot size though.
I don't think it is. I think it's smaller.
I think it's smaller
I think it's
than
slightly smaller.
standard size.
Just looking at my other decks because I think USA Games might be technically standard. I think it's the same size as my traditional Rider Waite. And then I realize I tend to get a lot of decks that are a little smaller, but I don't think that's standard. Like now that I'm looking through my little collection here.
Yeah, I don't have my RWS with me.
Yeah, me neither. But you know what? I think that is a good sign that we need to have another live and just talk about cardstock. We can like go through and show the different card sizes, the card like
I have so many decks to talk about when it comes to cardstock and like complain about some people.
Oh gosh, yes. So we could talk about the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, we'll make it a Clint Eastwood Western, but about tarot.
So yeah, let's totally do that. We'll meet back up, do another live. We'll go through the different. We'll kind of talk a little bit more, like restate the publishers compared to their cardstock, and then we could just go through and like these are our favorites. This one's not so bad, and then this one's pure garbage.
I have a few of those.
Oh, so do I. I don't think I even posted the flip through because halfway through I was like, I could print out a better copy than this.
Is that the Zen one that you're talking about? Yeah. So the cardstock. So the one that you got in the box that you got is actually not the cardstock you should have gotten. The deck is actually actual cardstock.
Which is crazy. Why did they send us that?
I don't know.
Oh my
God. I have no clue.
But regardless, I'm excited to shit talk it. So we'll have to pull together all of our different card stocks. We'll talk through them. And yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this live or if you're watching the replay, make sure you comment below. Let us know if you have any of these decks, what card stocks you like, what decks you liked, tarot and oracle. And do you have any last words, Sil?
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, like the video. It helps us a lot when you like the video. So definitely do that, and definitely subscribe to Cosmic's channel. If you're coming from my channel, subscribe to Cosmic's channel, and if you're coming from Cosmic's channel, then subscribe to me. That way you have more tarot content to play from her and me. So yes. But thank you so much for inviting me and doing this collab. Like it was so much fun to talk through this. I had a blast.
Yeah, and you know what? It's been long overdue. So this is so fun, and I'm always shit talking tarot while you're always giving the benefit of the doubt. So this is perfect.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, thank you guys. We are gonna log off, and you guys have a great rest of your Sunday fun day, and we will talk to you next time.